What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I hope you guys are doing well and had yourselves a wonderful weekend. As it is now December, we're going to be getting into a little bit of the Christmas spirit here on the channel. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to have some good times. I got some great videos coming out this week that are a little more on the humorous side. And boy, am I looking forward to having this stream with you guys this week. If you've been following us last week, we got a lot to talk about. And I'm going to let the room kind of fill up for a second before we get into those things. But first off, let's see if we can get a little roll call going on as we usually do here on the channel. We're going to see if we can get. I see a few already in there. We're gonna see if we can get one person from every province in the country, Canada wide, here on the channel. So make sure to give us a shout out in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Mystical's jumping in right off the bat. God, my speech is off today. You'd think I'd been drinking, so forgive me, folks, if I mess up tonight. Mystical coming in first is always the worst. Trudeau's a commie coming in. How you doing? Snistuck. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Saying hello. I think it's the first time I've seen you in the stream, but welcome into the stream. Great to see you. Derek Macbeth, again, good friend of the channel, jumping in. How you doing, Derek? Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Gotan jumping in. Trudeau is a commies traitor. I think it's the first time I've seen or Gaytan, sorry. I got Dragon Ball on the mind. Welcome into the stream. Hope you're doing well. The Romanian Patriot jumping in. How you doing? Welcome into the stream. Crystal Doyle jumping in from Newfoundland. Welcome into the stream. Mike TV Dub, cheers to Derek. Thank you so much. And to the chat. Let's get busy. Let's get down to business, ladies and gentlemen. We got a great stream coming up tonight. Always funny how Trudeau is so anti-carbon when the element of the foundation of all of life on the planet. I can't agree more. Callie Surfer Girl jumping in. Welcome into the stream. Good evening from BC, aka Bring Cash. That's a good anagram for BC or analogy, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. Great one, Callie Surfer Girl. I think again, this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But welcome into the stream. Theotherm11 is saying, how is everybody? Welcome into the stream. I hope you're doing well. It's Festivus for the rest of us. Not yet. We're not getting into Festivus yet. In fact, we're going to talk about my new secondary channel that's coming up. I thought I'd have it up and running by today, and I kind of do, but I don't. And we're going to get into that a little later in the stream as soon as we get caught up with the chat. I love the Santa hat you're rocking. I appreciate it. I wanted to get something fun for the stream. I do have a Christmas sweater on the way. I think it's supposed to get here next week because it's coming from the US. And boy, is it a humdinger. I can't wait for that to get in here. So I'll be rocking that next week. Maybe I'll get some lights or something for the back or some tinsel or something to kind of decorate up a little bit for Christmas. They did have a black one of these where instead of red, it was black and it said F off on the front. I didn't think that'd be very stream appropriate. So we'll stick with this festive AF shirt or hat. Derek's jumping in from Alberta. Welcome in. Stefan Blidfell. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Sarnia, Ontario. I've been there. Great place. Welcome into the stream. Leroy Jenkins coming in from Manitoba. Welcome into the stream. Theo's coming in from Mission, BC. Welcome into the stream. Snistuck coming in from Calgary, Alberta. Good old Cowtown, my town. Welcome into the stream. Margaret coming in as well from Calgary. I always join late. Okay, so my apologies for not catching you in here before, but welcome in. Fall Fever coming in. Welcome into the stream from Fort St. John, BC. Non-compliant Canadian, my favorite kind, coming in from Ontario. Welcome into the stream. Make sure you pay your taxes. It might not snow if you don't. We're going to talk about that tonight on the stream. Welcome in, Crystal. DN Searsman coming in from New Brunswick. Welcome into the stream. Trudeau's a commie. Happy Festivus. We do have some feats of strength to talk about this year, and also our grievances are getting aired on a daily basis here on the channel. And for some reason, the shadow ban is kicking in hardcore on the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys are checking the channel daily. I do upload content Monday to Friday, unless, of course, there's some kind of reason we couldn't get any kind of videos in. I always have a minimum of one video a day, Monday to Friday. So check back often as we air our grievances during a Trump clause shirt, perhaps. Oh, Leroy, you're getting close, but you'll have to wait for that one to arrive. Stinker Peg. Oh, come on, Mike. I love Winnipeg. I grew up in Winnipeg. I was born in Winnipeg. I absolutely love that city. I love my Jets. As much as I talk to Theo Fleury and other guys that, hung around in the NHL, I can always tell you the Jets are always going to be my team. My colors don't run, but boy, do I miss the good old days of Dale Hawerchuk and Bob Essence on the Winnipeg Jets. Now that tells you just how old I am. Mystical's coming in. You got chicken. At least he has chicken. Crimson Dragon coming in from Nova Scotia. Welcome into the stream. Somebody's coming from Brandon, Manitoba. Let's go, Brandon. Welcome into the stream. No regrets. I have family out in Brandon and Wawanesa, Manitoba, as well as Souris and Carmen and all around rural Manitoba. So welcome into the stream. Very familiar with Brandon. Visit the town often. There we go. Carla coming in. Alan and Carla from Creston, BC. Welcome in from Creston, BC, home of Kokanee beer. I believe it is anyways. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Is it just me or did the stream just freeze? That might be you. The chat's still moving. The chat's still moving. So, Derek saying it was him. Okay, great. Ram 1500 coming in from Coquitlam. That's a great town over in BC. Mike TV, Essenza with the block. Absolutely, Bob Essenza. Freedom Honey jumping into the channel. How you doing, Freedom Honey? Welcome in. Freedom Honey, a great Canadian patriot. Follow him over online on Twitter. He has some great posts. Does a lot to help our vets, and I couldn't be more grateful for the work that Freedom Honey does over at Mike there. Give Mike a follow. Go see what he's got to show you guys. It's great stuff. Kyle coming in from Lloyd, good old Lloyd Minster. I've got family in Lloyd. Love Lloyd. It was always interesting. I had a cousin who grew up in Lloyd that used to tell me because you had to be 19 to drink in Saskatchewan, all the guys on the Saskatchewan side of Lloyd would always go over to Alberta, get drunk, and then go home when they were 18. It's kind of funny that's the way it works in that town. Catastrophic CO2 induced man-made global warming is a lie in Dubai. Absolutely. Welcome in, Stefan. I fear Christ Freeland passed by my house whenever the stream freezes. Yeah, well, you never know. Amnesty jumping into the stream. How you doing, Amnesty? Welcome in. It's great to see you here. No piss better than clown piss. Welcome into the stream, clown piss. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of only being able to afford the heat to come on once an hour. I'm cold and I'm tired of this government. I couldn't agree more. That's it's funny. I talked to my mother-in-law today about the differences in utility costs from the big city to small town, and boy, is it a huge gap. It's insane. Went over and subbed at Freedom Honey. Great. Everybody go follow Freedom Honey. Mike again does great work. It's good to see him. Lynn B jumping in. How you doing, Lynn? Great to see you. I just minimized my stream. Hold on. Let's get it back there. Amnesty coming in with some great information to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, I do have some information for you guys tonight that we'll share probably more than once. And again, I apologize. I know people are getting sick and tired of the ad hawking or the grift shop, as we call it here on the channel. But I've been informed as orders were going out last week, folks. If you're looking to order our books direct, this is the best way to support the channel. It is the best way to help fund future projects with Unacceptable Fringe with our book business. But books are limited right now. They're running out of stock, and replenishing that stock before Christmas is becoming a bit of a problem now because, of course, as we get closer to Christmas, Amazon's having a hard time keeping up with demand. They're having a hard time sending me more books. But I've also been informed by Canada Post that if you live on the east coast of Canada or further on towards the east coast, your guaranteed Christmas delivery date would be packages sent out by this Friday, December the 8th. So if you've been on the fence about buying some of our books for Christmas gifts, again, remember all of our prices do come with free Canada-wide shipping as well as the books signed. Of course, there is a markup because I have to buy them from Amazon and then procure the materials to ship them out to you guys and pay for that shipping as part of your price. So again, as a little bit of a thank you, I sign each and every book and send it out direct. And really the only difference between buying on Amazon or buying direct is that I can keep track of sales. There's no shadow banning, and I get a little bit extra in terms of what Amazon takes for their cut, but otherwise I make about the same. So as people have said to me before, the prices are a little higher. Well, that's the cost of me having to get the books and ship them out to you guys in order to sell direct. But it is the best way to support the channel. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I've been told December the 8th, this Friday, is your last chance to have a guaranteed Christmas delivery date. If you're closer to Alberta or Calgary, of course, further past December 8th, you can probably still get your books in time for Christmas. If you're in BC or Saskatchewan or Manitoba, But again, as we get closer to Christmas Day, shipping is going to become more and more strained and more delayed. So now is the time. Head over to unacceptablefringebooks.com. Pick up your books now. And while I still have them in inventory, because man, is that stuff going fast. Let's here we go. Is Derek secretly Grifter from Wildcats? No, I am not. I am not. The new Canada, the Trudeau petition has 170,000 have signed. My God, that's just jumping up. Um, that's amazing. That's amazing. Lynn saying she's received her books. Thank you. I'm absolutely grateful that you did, Lynn. I hope you enjoy them. I did a delivery this week actually in town. One of my community members who lives in Calgary ordered quite a few books, and I had to drop them off to them in person because of I was in the area. I was going to be in that section of town, and I messaged them and said, "Hey, would you like a personal delivery?" And it was great because not only did I get to deliver those off, and they got their books faster, but I was actually able to have a chat with somebody from my community in person and get to know them on a personal level. It's somebody that I've known from when I was over on Clyde's Discord and hanging out with his community in the past. So it was kind of good to chat with them and get to know some people outside of making these videos. While I hang out here on Sundays, it's always fun when you meet somebody in person and you hear what they have to say and what's on their mind, and it's always good times. I really enjoyed that earlier this week. Um, they came on time for my birthday. My God, Lynn. Well, happy belated if I missed it. Welcome in. Hope hope you enjoyed your birthday, and I hope the books helped liven it up a bit. That's good to hear. Cheers from Greenwood, BC, smallest city in Canada. Well, that goes to show you because I've never heard of it. But welcome in. Great to see you in the stream. Yes, I can vouch that was a comic reference. Amnesty. Yep. Appreciate it. Amnesty, of course, is joining us as one of our moderators on the channel now. She's doing a fantastic job. Everybody give your thanks out to Amnesty and make sure to thank her for the bang up job she's doing. Do you think racist jokes are funny? I do. I think in the right context. Here's the thing. George Carlin, one of my favorite late comedians, I used to watch wholeheartedly. He had a really good saying when he talked about comedy and how people view comedy. And it was, I tried my hand at stand-up comedy in my early 20s, believe it or not. That was always my dream, was to be a comedian. Before I, got married, had kids, and, started looking at an actual job. But I used to study and watch George Carlin, and one of his quotes, and one of the things he said in one of his specials that if you've seen it, you know it, was he was talking about that comedy, really anything can be funny. Any joke can be funny so long as it's in the right context and as long as you have an open mind. He said sexual assault is a terrible thing, but imagine Porky Pig raping Elmer Fudd with a lawn dart, and you can have a little chuckle at it. So there are things that it's all about the context. It's how you deliver the jokes. When you talk about racist jokes, I think so long as they're not, I think there's a line when it comes to those jokes that you can't cross. Some of them are funny, some of them are way out there, where I've been like, oh, I can't get near those ones. But I think it's to each their own. I think it's to whoever has an open mind for that kind of comedy, I guess. I, for one, have a very dark sense of humor. Again, I wanted to get into comedy as a kid. So I typically find the laughter or humor in most jokes. Again, there's some where I go, oh, that's kind of chuckle funny, but not something I'd enjoy. But let me catch up with the chat, and then we're going to talk about comedies a little bit. I didn't miss it. Your birthday's on the 7th. Well, happy early birthday. Hopefully it's a good one. Dr. Joe Vipon is Freedom Honey's Alberta douche of the week. Pedro approved. Well, there we go. I'll maybe look into that a little bit because I want to know who that is. I've heard the name and I can't recall where, but it's gone right over my head. So I apologize for that, Mike. But I'm gonna get familiar with that. It surprised me to learn what kind of comedy Carlin performed after seeing him as Mr. Conductor on the Shining Time Station. Yeah, George Carlin was one of the greats. CB fixes all jumping in. I'm here. Let the bells ring because I'm here from the oil province, Alberta. CB, welcome into the stream. Always great to see CB in here. I was going to show some memes tonight, and I was trying to handpick my way through those, and I haven't had a chance to really do that because, again, I was trying to get content together for you guys for this week, and I got a little caught up in some personal matters. So maybe next week on the stream, I'll make sure I have some memes picked out, especially in December. Again, people say like I always get into the spirit of Christmas. I get excited for Christmas, regardless. For me, it's not about gifts. It's not about what you're spending. It's not about the ability to spend. It's being happy, being around my kids. I love seeing them get ready for their Christmas concerts and excited about seeing Santa Claus, things like that. We did a company Christmas party with my wife's company over the weekend, where again we go for the kids. The kids get gifts and see Santa Claus. It's a lot of fun, but people say that December can be one of the most depressing months of the year as well. So I always want to try and bring a little bit of laughter, a little bit of humor to this channel in December, and we're going to get into some of that tonight. But we will have memes next week. And again, if you want to throw your memes up, join our Discord. You can definitely get your fill of memes down there and post them in. Post them in. Just make sure to follow the Discord rules. Freeland needs to stop doing so much white powder. There we go, Laura. I agree. Working in retail is trying this time of year, though. I can imagine. I would not want that job. He's the idiot doctor. Okay. That went to Cop 28 to rag about Alberta's oil, and he lives in Calgary. Yes. Okay, now I know who we're talking about. Yes, Mike, I would agree. That's probably douche of the year, let alone douche of the week. Something I watched this weekend when talking about comedies, and I wanted to talk about it. We have a video coming up this week. I do have a review of this new movie. Now, I'm going to bring it up. Hold on. I'm going to have the trailer running in the background. We won't have audio because, again, if there's an audio problem with StreamYard, but not only that, we don't want to get flagged for copyright. But I'll show the trailer as we talk about it. The Daily Wire's newest comedy, Lady Ballers, dropped this Friday. Of course, you can see in here, it's men competing as women in women's sports. And it's a team of males who play basketball in a women's league to relive their glory days from high school basketball. I watched this movie twice over the weekend with my wife because the first time we watched it, we were laughing so hard. I had to sit and watch it a second time. And this movie is amazing. It is absolutely funny as hell. Probably one of the best comedies I've seen, well, in a while. I remember when I first seen the very first Hangover movie and thought it was brilliant. That's probably the last time I've seen a comedy that good. Whereas this, again, it's not a high budget. It's not CGI. It's not, woke propaganda. This movie, it reminds me a lot, if you ever watched raunchy 80s comedies, or comedies of that generation, like Animal House, Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's, any of those movies. This movie was definitely a reminder of those days where, if you have clever writing, you can have a good laugh about something, you can enjoy something. The Daily Wire just knocked it out of the park with this movie. It was absolutely fantastic. And I would highly recommend anyone who hates this woke ideology, the woke message in Hollywood, support the Daily Wire. Get a monthly membership for 1 month. Watch the movie. Cancel if you have to after that, but treat yourself to an early Christmas gift. Go watch this film. It's they deserve all the recognition in the world for what they've done, because they've there was the Biden on the magazine cover. They've taken an everyday topic like transgender athletes and men competing in women's sports, and they've made a very comical, very funny, and hilarious movie out of a real world concept that a lot of people find insulting and degrading towards actual women. And this movie really does a good job of just showing not only the funny side of it, but where we are in a society that, I stopped with my wife at one point and said, the movie's funny as hell, but it's also a reflection of where we actually are in the world. Like, how much of this do we actually see in our day-to-day lives? It's almost depressing. It's borderline depressing at one point. And I said, it's the movie kind of goes from being a comedy into a horror movie when you start to think of it from that aspect. But it is a good movie. It does have good talking points. It is very cleverly written. And I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be a hard R movie. It's a PG-14 or 14A or whatever you call it at this point with the ratings. Great movie. Would I watch it with my children? No, but but it's definitely something funny to watch this holiday season. If you really want to have a laugh, if you want to remove yourself from the day to day negative news and negative attitude towards government or anything else negative going on in your life, go check it out. Honestly, go check it out. It reminds me of Sorority Boys a little bit. It's a little bit like that. Um, yeah, where can we watch it? It's not in theaters. So where you can watch it right now, you head over to the Daily Wire. You have to become a member of the Daily Wire. You can do it monthly or annually, and when you become a member, it unlocks their movies, their documentaries, their streaming service for you direct from their site. Again, it supports the Daily Wire directly. Um, it also gives you the ability, depending on your membership, to get a streaming service for your children that is catered towards educational and non woke content for your kids. I don't know too much about it. I haven't actually looked into it, but I've been told that it's pretty decent for children. That their programming's not half bad. But again, you have to go over to the Daily Wire and become a member. Every just about every personality from the Daily Wire appears in Lady Ballers in one shape, or form, or another. Again, very well written movie. Um, it almost reminded me of like a South Park episode. Like if you think about the Panderverse and what that just did to Disney and how it shamed them out of the woke ideology that they push forward, Lady Ballers did the same thing with the trans community, and kind of just finding a lighthearted, funny way to say this is actually how the world looks with everything you're parading around. And I, for one, support what they've done. I think it's fantastic. Again, I watched it twice because I spent the majority of the first watch through laughing so hard I couldn't hear half the dialogue. It's a great movie. You have to pay to get it. Sign up for the Wire. Yeah, so the Daily Wire does have an annual subscription fee, but we went for the monthly because again, I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick around and see the content, so I decided to take it for a test spin. I think it's like $14 to get it for a month, which again, if you think about buying a movie ticket or anything like that, it's about the same as buying a movie ticket. So really, you're supporting something that's indie developed that again really pushes out the message that if this movie does well, it sends a message not only to Hollywood but to these woke ideologists that think that you have to have a message in every movie, and that movies can't be funny anymore or raunchy or across the lines of what people consider offensive. I was almost worried for a time that when you look at movies like Tropic Thunder, that we'd never see movies like that again. That people are going to complain and get woke, and you're always going to have the SJW folks chiming in over those movies. Now, of course, I looked over at Rotten Tomatoes, and the movie's sitting at a 97% audience rating. Again, I don't run everything by Rotten Tomatoes, but I just find it funny with over 2,500 reviews. If you do watch the movie, do head over and leave a review. I left mine yesterday. I left a very glowing review for them. Absolutely great movie. Go check it out. Um, so many cameos to boot. Yeah, and they're all well done. All the cameos are great. It's not just like a Stan Lee Marvel cameo. Like it's really well thought out. Um, HonkTube coming. Don't worry, be happy. Merry Christmas. Same to you, and I'm glad to see somebody saying it. I said it at the mall today, and somebody looked offended, and I could care less. Um, should we close the border for 5 years in Canada? Yes. I wouldn't say close it all together. I think that we need to definitely drastically reduce the number of people that we're bringing into the country until we can fix our own problems. Um, Elon Musk's coolness levels over 9,000 after he called out Bob Iger. Now, again, I was going to do a video on that this week, but again, like everybody's covering that. Um, it's one of those subjects that if you don't do something immediately, you missed your mark. I had a video drop this week because a lot of people had asked my opinions on Pierre Poilievre schooling the journalist. And as soon as I get into the comments, you see people going, bruh, this happened like a week ago. And it's like I even said in the video, I'm late to the party. I know this. We just had other things to cover, but I still wanted to get on talk about it. Now, as I mentioned the comments, I want you guys to know something because a lot of people think that the comments get to me. I can assure you right now, I laugh at each and every one of those silly, dumb comments that come through. I find them quite entertaining. They do not get to me. Thanks to guys like Master of Snatch, they've actually shown me how to thicken up a little bit on social media and learn to take a joke and not take things so serious. And I appreciate the time that he and Joe Lyman and others have spent with me trying to show me the ways of the internet, so to speak, and turn me into a little bit of a better self critic. So, anytime I mention those comments, it's more to have a laugh. It's not because I take them personally or seriously. But there were a lot of comments last week when we talked about Vladimir Zelensky's supposed purchase of two yachts in the Ukraine, with people saying, well, this is disinformation. You can't say that this is where the money has gone. Go to the Ukraine. A lot of people losing their mind in those comments. Look, I simply reported on something that was being pushed out there. Um, I mean, who else? Like Zelensky's admitted to naming the ship "Lucky Me." Um, that's documented. If you look at the way his wife behaved when they were in Paris, that's documented as well. So, I mean, for anybody who wants to defend Zelensky at this point and say, well, there's no money going out, everything's legit, it's all going towards the war. No, it's not. You can tell me until the cows come home um, that I'm wrong, but I'm sorry to say it, I'm going to think I'm right. Nothing you say, unless you have Vladimir Zelensky walk up to me and show me the books himself, I'm not going to believe otherwise. And I won't apologize for it either. Close the border and only allow immigrants who go through proper legal channels to get here. You know who that sounds like? My good friend Donald. They're going to come through and it's going to be legal. We're going to do it legally. I think that is the way to do it. And I agree. The United States had it that way. If I want to move to the United States tomorrow, we looked into it at one point because my wife was offered a contract with her oil and gas company in Texas. And we looked at moving down to the United States at one point, and they told us that if we move down there, I'm not allowed to work for the first 2 years that we're there, and she's there on a temporary visa. They're very strict about Canadians coming over. Doesn't really feel that way with other people that are coming through from other countries, but when it comes to Canadians, it's very strict how they run things. I look, I've got a video coming out this week talking about immigration at the border and talking about our immigration problem. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. It is coming out tomorrow morning. But one thing that I explained in that video that I've said countless times on this stream, countless times on other videos, is that I always look at immigration and the state of Canada the same way you do when you're sitting on an airplane. And that's when the airplane is going, through some emergency measure and oxygen masks drop from the ceiling. They say that you're to put yours on and secure yours first, then look after your children or anybody else that you have to attend to. Because if you don't put your mask on, you're just going to cause more problems and everything's going to fall out of control. It's the same thing when you're running a country. It's nice to open our doors and it's nice to say, give us your tired, your poor, give us people who are willing to work, who are willing to contribute to this country's growth. I'm all for people coming here for a better life, for people who want to make a life for themselves and actually contribute to our society. I'm very happy, but not only contribute, assimilate. I'm not saying you have to drop your your own beliefs, your own preferences when it comes to how you celebrate holidays. But I think you should assimilate a little bit to understand that Canada has policies and holidays and practices that we like to continue with, and traditions that you don't have a right to come and say that we should be canceling them or getting rid of them simply because you're an immigrant in our country. I've never gone to somebody's house for dinner and told them what to cook. So I would expect if you come to my country, you're tolerant of the way we do things. And that's one thing that really irks me. But at the same time, as I'm accepting of people to come here, we have to look at our current financial status and our current financial situation when it comes to the money we've printed, when it comes to the overspending of our ridiculous government, if you can even call them that at this point. When you look at inflation, when you look at the housing bubble, we have to say enough is enough, and we have to close the doors until we get things under control. It's nothing against race. It's nothing against saying like, oh, this is America, and I want to make sure my land's protected. They took our jobs. This is all about what makes sense in order for us to continue on a steady path that's beneficial not only for all Canadians but for people that we're letting in to live here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of seeing tent cities. I'm seeing it more and more. You're seeing people sleeping under bridges. You're seeing people living in their cars. living in their cars. We did a video last week talking about armed forces workers that are currently living in their cars because they can't afford rent. What the hell is that? These are people who protect our country, and we can't pay them enough to get an apartment? Come on. I remember when I was 18 years old. I'll just say 20 for better measure. I was 20 years old, so the year 2000. Um, I got my first apartment, and it was $650 a month, which when I factor in my paycheck at that time, it was only about half of one paycheck to cover my rent, which meant that I had plenty of money to cover food, bills, insurance, fuel in my car. I think gas at that point was only 65 cents a liter or somewhere around there. I could afford groceries where, again, I couldn't afford to go buy steak all week, but you could afford to go to, Loblaws and pick up, yellow brand food or cheaper food and, still have money to go out and hang out with your friends at the bar. Nowadays, even with my income that I make online as well as my wife's income from a very modest job, when you factor in taxation, we still live check to check because of our high mortgage payments, our car payments, insurance, cell phones, internet, utilities, taxes. When you factor all those in, how does anybody live in this country anymore? You can't live anymore. If any of us were to move to a foreign country, the onus would be on us to assimilate. That country would never allow us to derail their culture. And again, if I move to somewhere like I'll say for example, like if I move to Japan, my family and I would probably still celebrate Christmas, but we'd celebrate it in our home. And I certainly wouldn't go out and tell people you're not allowed to celebrate the way you celebrate. You should do it the way we do it because I moved here and I'm offended that you don't do this. Or any tradition that they have, I wouldn't go out and say you're not allowed to have that because I find it offensive. There's a reason I moved there, right? So I'd have to understand that this is the way they do things here, and that I have to be okay with that. It's just polite. Like, I don't understand how we live in a world where people think they have a right. I see it all the time. People had a laugh last week where somebody in the comments said, "Can you take out the Macho Man on your intro video where he goes, woo yeah, at the beginning of your videos because I feel like I'm walking into a peeler bar?" And I said, "No." That was it, a blatant no. And the reason I said that is because it blows my mind that anyone thinks they can come walking into this channel and say, "Can you please tailor your channel to my preferences so I can watch your video?" You got a set of balls on you to do that. I'm sorry, but you do. Who does that? Who? I I don't, and again, it doesn't affect me. I find it friggin' funny because I wouldn't go to somebody else's office and say, I really don't like your policies. Can you change them so that they benefit me and solely me?" There's over 12,000 subscribers on this channel. Could you imagine if I listened to every single person who came into this channel and said, "Can you tweak this or change this for my preferences? Can you change this so I can be more satisfied to watch your video?" Look, I've said it before, and it was the first thing I was told on my first day of business school. There's nothing you can do to please everybody, and the person who tries to is a fool. I find it so funny. You need to add cream of the crop to your intro too. Maybe I'll do a second intro that has that. Um, it's Laura. Tell them a big f you. See, I don't want to be mean. Woo yeah! I see it here. Kyle coming in. Um, yeah, it's and Patricia Rose saying, "I love the intro. I love the intro." Look, I grew up on wrestling. I love old school, like 80s, 90s gold era wrestling. When you think about Bret Hart, when you think about the British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels, Degeneration X, Stone Cold Steve Austin, even the 80s guys where The Undertaker started his career in wrestling, Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, I could go on, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I loved wrestling as a kid. I think the Macho Man is awesome. Okay, I'm sorry. I think he's one of the funniest, coolest wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I have him on my intro. That ain't going nowhere. But why you think there's the yell from Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It's you know what? I've got the WWF Royal Rumble pinball table and Hacksaw's yell is on there and I play it literally just to hear it. Um Master Snatch, why is the chat talking about me? Because it's easy. Um it's Somebody saying, "Are you Derek's Obi-Wan or is Yoda?" Oh, that's a tough one. Snatch is like a combination of both. Let me tell you something. Master of Snatch, and I'm going to stroke his ego for a second here. There is a handful of guys that I talk to on Discord outside of making my videos. CB is in there, Joe Lyman, Snatch, a few other people that I'm not going to out and mention here. But this group of gentlemen are probably some of the smartest, most based people I've had the pleasure of meeting in my entire existence. Um, Snatch and I started out kind of hating each other and then kind of became friends over time. But I'm telling you one thing right now, there's a lot of things I trust to him when it comes to the channel, when it comes to things going on in my day to day life. If I need advice, I can go to him. He's very laid back and he's taught me to be very laid back, even though I'm still a little neurotic. I know people love to say over and over again how neurotic I am, but you know what? Snatch has brought me down a peg and I'm appreciative for all the work that those guys do. CB is a very prominent member in our Discord, posting memes, great news stories. I'll tell you right now, this channel wouldn't be where it is today without the help from these fine young gentlemen. And I'm very grateful and blessed to have them, not only in my chat, but in my corner as a channel. So thank you to each and every one of you for all the work you do. Snatch says he's closer to Yoda. Yeah, he doesn't talk as nice as Yoda, but hey, that's okay. It's CB. Oh no, I see his head growing. Which one? There's a little joke I would say. Amnesty, of course, again doing a great job as a mod. Welcome, and I'll say Merry Christmas and sing my heart out. I couldn't agree more. Um, it's um, it's great. The thumbnail for your channel. Do I smell the Brady Bunch? No, that's a Grand Theft Auto parody. I did a GTA parody for that. Again, I'm into gaming. Speaking of gaming, um, I'm starting a second channel. I don't know if you guys know this. Let me bring it up. The channel is open, but it's not. There's no videos yet. I haven't put anything on the channel yet. Um, I will send I'll let you guys see it at least because just so you know, I'm not BSing. I'm doing the work. It's I'm trying to. You know what I have to do is I have to get video intros done, so that I can properly make videos. I'll have that done this week. So there should be content coming out this week. But missing context is going to be my next channel. Now, this is going to be a secondary channel. The channel isn't this channel. Unacceptable Fringe is still staying where it is. With the shadow bans, with everything going on, there's a lot of content I want to talk about that I can't really include on this channel. Um, I used to talk about arcade machines because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm kind of into arcades. Um, I used to talk about arcades on the channel, and the arcades, well, they didn't mesh well with politics. I had kind of a mixed crowd. I want to do things like live streams. I want to talk a little bit about culture war, a little bit about pop culture, a little bit about the woke agenda in movies and Hollywood and all the crazy things going on over there, as well as maybe do the occasional live stream with some gaming. Kind of come down to where I hang out and where I shine in terms of my interests. So if you guys want to head over, one thing I am going to ask everybody to do at some point is go over, subscribe to the channel. Missing context. I am again needing to get up to 1,000 subscribers before I can go live and do a live stream. I'd really like to do a live stream at some point towards Christmas. I used to do an annual event when I was on Twitch that I called Nestivus, which was kind of like a funny version of Festivus, but I'd like to do Nestivus again this year and maybe get a broadcast in before Christmas. So if you guys want to head over, subscribe, even if you're not going to watch the videos on that channel, it helps me greatly if you go over and hit that button. Put the channel on mute after that. You don't have to watch the videos that are coming through on there, but if that is your cup of tea, head over, subscribe. Videos are on the way. I should have videos up later this week. And again, I'm looking forward to bringing you guys even more content on top of the politics that I already talk about on this channel. It's just a way to branch out and kind of have some fun with my interests. I am definitely looking forward to bringing that in. I know a lot of people who came out and said, I liked when you were talking about arcades. I liked when you talked a little bit about pop culture, when you talked about, video games a little bit. And I know that a lot of my audience is different on this channel, so I don't want to bring that into this channel and chase away a lot of our audience. So that second channel is going to be up, and I will be putting content on there as often as I put content on this channel. Again, it's just another way for you guys to get a second dose of Fringe over on Missing Context. And I'm looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be great. Um, are you into MWO? What's MWO? Are you talking Modern Warfare Online? Is that what I'm to assume? Um, my first job was managing an arcade gallery. It was a ton of fun. I would imagine it was. I um I may be downsizing this arcade a little bit because if you guys have watched my game room tour video that I put out a couple weeks ago, I have quite a few machines and there's less and less room in this basement. My kids are getting bigger. And I'd like to give them a little bit of room to kind of do their own things. Maybe set up a permanent studio down here because every time I come out here, I wheel out my desk, my lights, my camera. I set everything up to do these streams and do my videos. It's a little tasking. I'd like to set up a permanent workspace. So I do have a lot of multicades within this arcade, so I might just keep those downsized to the ones that I only play. But hey, it's Mech Warrior Online. No, I don't play those games. I do mostly old guy stuff. I'm doing this one right now called Void Crew. I'm playing that with Snatch and Joe and CB, and it's kind of like a space exploration game. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do a stream of that on the channel at some point. Who knows? I'll have to see if those guys want to be on a stream first. I don't want to put them online if they don't want to be. But I also play a lot of like Modern Warfare, shooters, things like that, and I play a ton of retro video games. I love retro. Again, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I love those kind of games. And again, I'm looking forward to playing a lot of those games on the channel. Again, that's on Missing Context, the second channel, as things progress. And is it on Steam? Yes, it is on Steam. It's called Void Crew. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool game. A lot of fun. Tim C says Spy Hunter, one of my favorite games. In fact, the Star Wars machine behind me has like a flight yoke, as they call it, a flight yoke, I think is how they say it. One of the companies that I got a mod box for my Outrun driving cabinet from, Buy Stuff Arcades. They have one for the Star Wars machine that includes a bunch of Star Wars games, but it's also got games like Paperboy, Spy Hunter, games that had Stun Runner, that had a flight yoke that incorporates it. And I was thinking about getting one, but the problem with that is that, I mean, they're asking like $400 for those things, and it's just to add a couple of games. We'll see down the line, but those games were made for those yokes, and it's we'll see. You need a permanent workspace. That has to be tiring setting up and tearing down for each video you produce. So usually what you'll notice, again, a lot of people ask me if I ever change my clothes. So you'll notice that a lot of my videos, I'm wearing the same clothes. So what I'll typically do on a Sunday is I'll pre-film a handful of videos that I want to talk about topics. And then during the week, if things arrive or things come up and, a news story comes out that I want to cover, I'll get everything back out and I'll do another story and load that on top of things. So typically what I'll do is I'll only bring my desk out once or twice a week in order to do those things. But it works. I've got it in a pretty good setup where I can set up and tear down in about 15, 20 minutes. So it's not so bad, but yeah, it's crazy. Look up the Oldsmobile Inca Pure 80s. Resembles the Spy Hunter car. I'll check that out. I'll check it out after stream. Something I wanted to talk about again because we're losing viewers talking about video games, and I don't want to make everybody leave. Uh, Anytime I talk about books or anytime I talk about video games, people just up and leave. It's like kryptonite to this channel. Um, Coming up on this week, I've got a video talking about Pierre Poilievre's mini documentary called, I think it's called Housing Hell. It's there's a couple of channels that called Missing Context, which is it. So that's the one thing I found. But Missing Context, so the reason I went with Missing Context was I um I used to do a podcast. Sorry, I was pulling it up for you guys. I used to do a podcast back in the day during pandemic times that I used to broadcast on my Twitch channel. Um, and I've got a theme done for it. My friend Dan, who did the theme song for Unacceptable Fringe, also did one for Missing Context. I've got a lot of graphical overlays done for it and everything like that. So I figured, hey, you know what? I'll use my old Twitch account artwork. I'll use that, and it saves me time from thinking of new ways to brand a channel, so to speak. So this was the easiest way. I redid the logo from what we used to have to this one. I thought this one looked a lot nicer for the channel, but this is what it'll look like. You'll see the guy with the spiky hair. That used to be what I looked like before I cut my hair down. Um, Let me see if I can pull it up on YouTube and I can put a link in the chat. Because like I can go to it from my channel, but that's not the link. There we go. Here's a link for you guys down in the chat. You guys can maybe Amnesty can shell it out throughout the stream. At missing_context is where you can find me on YouTube. Head over, subscribe to the channel. Again, guys, I need 1,000 subs before I can go live. I'd really like to build up that channel as fast as I can. Again, if you watch these videos and if you appreciate what we put out, go subscribe to the channel. Again, you don't have to watch the videos on there. Just sub and leave it. It helps us. It helps us grow, and it helps to get us to a point where I can monetize and get my videos out there. Again, YouTube's been really going big on the shadow ban ever since we had 10,000 subs. And I don't know if it's all political channels. Snatch says it's not all because of that. There is downtime on politics right now. I get that, but there has been a drop for a lot of folks. So it's kind of our way to combat the shadow bans by having an additional channel that generates revenue that brings in sponsorships if we get big enough. So again, if you're watching our videos, go subscribe to the channel. If you don't want to watch the videos, that's okay, but just stay subbed. It helps us out. Roman Patriot with a $5 super chat. Wow, thank you very much. Man, I appreciate that. Those aren't necessary. They definitely aren't required. I certainly don't encourage them. Again, I always believe that I'd like to give people something for their money. And again, I'll do my last little shill um, for the company again. For anybody who came into the stream late, if you were going to order our books before Christmas or as Christmas gifts, the reason we're talking about this now, and I don't want to I don't want to bring it up again because I know you guys get sick of it. Uh, unacceptablefringebooks.com is where you go to order your books. They come direct from me, signed. Every book you order comes signed. I've been told by Canada Post that this Friday, December 8th, is the last day for me to ship books where you can have your books guaranteed deliver by Christmas Day. As we get closer to Christmas, it's going to get a lot harder to guarantee those shipments. So again, if you're looking to get the books, now's the time. We have some bundles in there. We have our regular books. The other problem too is inventory. As soon as I run out of inventory, it's going to be very difficult to restock some of the books. I've been having a hell of a time keeping our newest book, How the Prime Minister Broke Canada, in stock. I've ordered books, and usually books can get here at any other time of the year within 3 to 4 days. It's now taking upwards of 2 weeks for books to arrive. And as we get closer to Christmas, it's going to be harder and harder for those books to be delivered on time to be shipped out. So again, once I run out of stock, I'm kind of foobar until after Christmas to guarantee that I can ship out by a certain date. So if you guys have been looking to get them for gifts, now is the time. Head over to unacceptablefringebooks.com and pick up your books now, sooner than later. And again, once I run out of stock, again, there's not a lot I can do. I apologize, folks. But I'm fighting the Christmas season and Christmas shipping. But hey, let's. How much would it take to get you to dance? There's no amount of money. I'm white. I don't dance. I'm white and I'm sober, so I don't dance. Uh, so what I was talking about before, Pierre Polyev with his documentary. I think it's called Housing Hell. I've got a video coming out on it tomorrow, and let me just double check the name of that video. It looks like my kids have been on YouTube because I'm missing all the videos I watched. I can't find it in my watch history. I think it's called Housing Hell. It's a great mini documentary. It's about a 15-minute video that Pierre Polyev has put out. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I will have a link to that video in the description for the video that I'm putting out on it. It's a fantastic little mini documentary about Justin Trudeau's effect on the housing market, where houses are going, where the bubble's going to burst, and where I have a bit of a discrepancy with that video is kind of, I know people are going to get mad. Oh, you're barreling on Pierre. No. What my discrepancy does in this video is involves all political parties. And, well, you'll have to tune into the video tomorrow to see what that is. But Pierre Poilievre's documentary on this is actually quite educational for anybody who doesn't like the big words or big terms that you often hear thrown around when it comes to the housing market or banks or interest rates, and big terms that they use for inflation or inflationary practices. Pierre does a really good job in this video breaking it all down into layman's terms as to what exactly it means that's going on in Canada right now and how it's affecting people, not just now, but in the future. And well, it's a compelling video. I really enjoyed it. I found it very informative, despite the fact that I follow a lot of this stuff and had a good idea of what was going on. But again, I thought that the way he explained it in that video was very um, respectful to a sense that it's broken down for anybody who doesn't want to understand the usual jargon around finance. Um, Anytime you're in the House of Commons or watching Question Period, they bring up these weird terms that, again, unless you're in that industry or unless you focus a lot of attention on those industries, sometimes you don't know the terms that are being thrown around. And again, Pierre does a really good job breaking them down. I would highly recommend going to watch it. He has it posted on his Twitter as well as his YouTube channel. Again, I believe it's called Housing Hell. Um, Let me see your wedding video. You danced. No, that wedding video is locked tight. It doesn't go anywhere. In fact, I don't even think my wife and I have watched it in the 17 years that we've been married. Um, and I was very drunk then. So it's it's like I said, I either have to be drunk or I don't dance because I'm white. It just doesn't happen. It's Margaret saying she got her book in one day from Amazon. That's great. Again, my books, I have to order them from Amazon, prepare them, sign them, put them in envelopes, ship them out, and then reship to you guys who want to buy direct. So for me to get them from Amazon in bulk, it takes a little bit longer than their print to order. They also don't prioritize those books the way they do when you buy them from Amazon, because again, when I'm buying them, they're being bought at cost, at Amazon's cost to print plus their little bit of a kickback, and then they ship them to me. They charge me for shipping to ship it to me, and then again, I have to charge to ship out, but that's worked into the price. Again, any of our books have free Canada-wide shipping included in the price of your purchase, and they all come signed, which is something you can't get anywhere else. Not to mention our redacted book, which a lot of people were talking about on Twitter this evening. I've only got about 25, 24 copies of that book left. And once those are gone, they're gone. They came out last Christmas as a collector's item for people who appreciated how the Prime Minister stole freedom. The book is mostly redacted and in black and white to kind of poke fun at the POEC, or the Emergency Act Commission, that was going on last year. We included a little bit of extra content in there, but not much. It was more, again, a thank you to our fans, and it was only sold for 4 weeks. There's less than 500 copies out there right now, and only less than 10 of them, I would say, have been signed. So for anybody who wants to collect those books, it is a little higher priced, again, because it's out of print. But once those books are gone, they're gone forever. I can't even get any more because they're no longer in print. But hey, that's where we're at. When they say things like food insecurity, it means famine. Yes, yes. Paw Print's coming in. I'm late to the stream tonight, but I just had to say you're that's awesome, Derek. Thank you so much. Hey, it's after December 1st, so we got to get in the mood, right? We gotta. I think again, I enjoy December. I love Christmas. I was always like Chevy Chase when I was a kid. Even getting into my adult years, I always wanted to go overboard at Christmas. It's my favorite time of year, simply because most people are in a good mood, um, at least as good of a mood as they can be in, given our circumstances these days. Watching my kids do their concerts, everything else that they're doing, it's just a really fun month for me. But people are also having hard times, and I think that we need to. They say that December is one of the most depressing months of the year for a lot of people, so we got to laugh, and that's why I made sure to get this hat. Again, I've got an ugly Christmas sweater on the way that I should have. I think it says it's coming around the 14th, but I will be wearing it on stream every video until Christmas because it's awesome, and it's coming from the U.S. And that's all I'm going to say about it for now. New life mission: get Derek drunk and tape him dancing. I don't get drunk on this channel, despite what other YouTubers may do. I don't drink online. I don't think it's good to drink online. You kind of can get into a situation where you say or do things you don't want to say. Again, I've seen other guys who do it. I'm not into that scene. Um, I did it once, and I'll never do it again. Um, just found the alternate channel, only 16 subs. Geez, guys. Well, that's okay. Again, the other channel, I'll be making an announcement once there's actual content on that channel later this week. Again, I'm getting my video intros, my transition cuts, and all that done. And as soon as those are up, I can start making some videos for that channel. If you want a white Christmas, you better pay your carbon taxes. Yes. Um, Before we get into that, I got to touch on Ariel Sky. You've been married 17 years. You look so young. Jesus, I appreciate that. Yes, I've known my wife since high school. We met when we were 17 years old, and well, she was 16, I was 17, and we split after high school, stayed together as friends for a few years, and then got back together and got married. Um, and I couldn't be happier. It's she's my best friend, and yeah, 17 years. We've been together 20, married 17, and boy, I sure hope I keep looking young if that's the case. As for Trudeau, it's yeah, I'm not even going to touch that one, Joe. Um, Justin Trudeau this week. You've seen our video that we dropped Friday about him coming out saying the most bonkers statement ever, that if you don't pay your carbon taxes, you're going to lose snow, that you're not going to have a white Christmas, and that these Trudeaus or the liberals stand with Christmas, as he says when he sat down. You could see in that video the conservatives all laughing at the stupidity of this man and his bogus claim. Like I sometimes wonder when I see these things, like, who buys this? Who actually believes? Like, if you were buying into the whole climate change narrative at this point, like, wouldn't you look at the stupidity of that answer and start to say, okay, maybe this is a joke? Because, like, why would you say something so stupid? It's so somebody in the comments had a really good point where they said, if you look back at records, at temperature records, um, we recently broke a record on one day at like an above seasonal average for so many degrees. But in 1875 or something, they took a recording that it was actually colder. That's the coldest it's ever been, or the warmest it's ever been was in the 1800s. So how do we have this climate emergency on our hands? Which again, it's all a scam. We know it's a scam. And that's laughable at best. And that's where anytime I hear people talk to me about the climate crisis and global warming, I always say, go back 100 years and look at weather records and tell me that we had a climate crisis back then. I've said it before on this channel. Alberta used to be a tropical climate 20 million years ago when the dinosaurs were around. And now we get winter sometimes 4 to 6 months out of the year. Now, we've been very lucky in Alberta, and I watched a countrywide weather forecast the other day, saying that anywhere from Manitoba west to BC is going to have an above mild or above average mild winter this year, which hopefully is true. because again, for anybody who's paying their carbon taxes, that's going to mean less heating costs that they have to put on their homes. And they said now milder and above average. He said in that video that um, it could just be a couple of degrees warmer, but it's still warmer on average. You're not going to have as many minus 30 days or as many struggles getting through the winter. And then, of course, they said the places in Canada that are going to suffer the most are Quebec and Ottawa area. They're going to go into deep freeze. And I said, good. They all voted against giving us a carbon tax break. So to hell with them. Let them have the coldest winter on record and hope they enjoy their carbon taxes. Sorry, Snatch. I know you're in Ontario, but it looks like things are going to get a little easier this winter for those of us. I guess we just didn't pay enough carbon taxes in Western Canada to justify a white Christmas. We'll see how that goes. Um, it's crazy. I'll take this weather. It's paradise to my eyes. Yeah, well, I don't mind a break once in a while. Like I've said before, if I could live in a place where we get snow Christmas Eve and a white Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day it all melts and it's 20 degrees outside, I'd be good with that. I would totally be good with that. Um, I stand by the contrarious position that it was smart. If it is white, it's due to carbon tax. If it isn't, there isn't enough. There you go. That's Joe's got a good point. Like he's kind of put himself in a win-win with that claim, but it's still an asinine, ridiculous claim. Mike TV Dub, more CO2. Say goodbye to minus 40. There you go. Ariel Sky, JT is making jokes. They made no sense. He referred to Jordan Peterson as and Pierre as Hitler. Yeah, well, we're getting a crazy amount of snow in Montreal right now. Well, that's what they were calling for in this forecast. Um, what can I say? I mean, look, I like snow. I'm from Winnipeg. I enjoy snow. I welcome it. So we'll see. Mystical, yeah, you got a good point there. Right now in Rogers Pass, the snow's falling, not cold, -2, lots of snow. It's funny because again, when I went to deliver some of my books this week to a member in Calgary, um, I passed the Olympic ski hill where if you've seen Cool Runnings, that's the Olympic Park where they did their the bobsled runs and they filmed the bobsled runs for that movie. And it's funny because there's no snow in Calgary right now, but all around that hill they've made the snow for people to go skiing. And it's kind of funny because it's just brown, 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 white, and then brown everywhere else with the grass. It's really hilarious when you see it. But that's one of the reasons I love this city. That if I really want the real feeling of winter and to go skiing and things like that, the mountains are less than a 2 hour drive. Otherwise, I can stay here where it's nice and mild and suitable for the winter. Calgary, again, as many times as my wife and I say, boy, we'd sure like to pack up and move even just outside of the city. The city's going to hell. Well, hopefully I can fix that in the next municipal election. But I love what Calgary has to offer. It's Tim C jumping in. Residing in a molten ball of magma with a crust circling a burning ball of gas, pay your taxes, set the temperature. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do, that's going to wrap up tonight's stream. I do have videos I got to make. Now, one thing that I did say was a few weeks ago that going into the Discord was going to be hard after stream because um, that's usually when I have to do my editing now in order to get videos out for you guys during the week. But what I will do is, I spoke with the channel member last week when I was delivering their books, and I said, because they said, we really miss having you in the Discord, and I said, I just feel like I'm ignoring everybody because I'm doing editing because I'm sitting there and I'm not completely giving everybody my 100% attention. But she says, you know what? I think it's good for you to come in anyways. And just as long as people know that's what you're doing, we're accepting of it. We can still have a conversation. So to hell with it. I'll be doing my editing after this stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the Discord, jump in, join us on the Discord. Let me get a Discord link for anybody who wants to come in. I'll be there for about an hour and I'll hang out with you guys there. Again, I can't guarantee that I'm going to be very overly active in the conversations unless I've got little gaps where I can jump in. But I'll put a link to the Discord here in the stream. And if you guys haven't joined our Discord yet, you can head over. You can join the Discord and let me get a link for you here. there's a link to the Discord. I'll flash it up on the screen as well. If you guys want to join the Discord, you can hop in there. I'll have a chat with everybody. Mike TV asking, what's your opinion on your lovely mayor raising the property tax to 7% for the next year? You know, I wanted to get Dan McLean, one of the city councilors, on the channel to talk about that. I'll do a video on that this week. You guys will be hearing from me about that. And I'll have more to say later this week. So again, check out our videos on the channel. A lot of that's coming up, but I hope again you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that happened today, everything we talked about. I know it's a little daunting and a little distracting. Again, I apologize, folks. My mind's in 50 different places while I'm trying to get this other channel set up and do a bunch of other things. Again, the shadow bans are hitting, so make sure you check into the channel all week long. I'm going to have content up there. I'm out of town in Edmonton on Friday, but I'll try my best to make sure I have a video uploaded for Friday for you guys. And then again, I'll have a live stream next Sunday here on the channel. So make sure to tune in. I hope you guys have yourselves a great week. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream again, and stay safe and be kind to each other. And I will